Well, Joseph Duggar from the TV show 19 Kids and Counting has been arrested on sexual assault charges involving a teenage girl.
He's set to appear before a judge today. The Bay County, Florida Sheriff's Office issued a warrant for a crime that he allegedly committed in 2020.
The sheriff's office says the alleged incident happened at Panama City Beach. You see it here in Bay County. In a Facebook post, the sheriff's office says the victim describes that she was asked repeatedly to sit on Joseph Duggar's lap during a vacation back in 2020. Now, at the time, the alleged victim was 9 years old. We spoke with the chief deputy prosecutor for Washington County about what could come next for Duggar in the case.
He can waive extradition. In that case, Florida has 30 days to pick him up, or if he contests jurisdiction, then Florida has to obtain what's called a governor's warrant.
Well, right now, Duggar is being held at the Washington County Jail waiting for extradition. We'll keep an eye on the case and bring you the latest.
Well, in cases involving children, getting them to speak out about trauma can be one of the biggest challenges for investigators. We spoke with the forensic interviewer at the River Valley Child Advocacy Center in Clarksville about how they approach these sensitive situations. Staff at the center say every child responds differently during interviews. Some are ready to talk right away, while others may be hesitant due to fear, instability, or past experiences.
It starts with just introducing the child to the room, the age-appropriate instructions, building rapport. That is so important because, like I said, each child is different and they may come in there scared and nervous and visibly just not okay.
Well, we will continue to keep you updated with any new information from the case right here on air and on our website, 5newsonline.com.
Well, today the Washington County Quorum Court will consider a resolution in response to multiple school walkouts. It comes after protests against ICE enforcement happened earlier this year at schools in Springdale and Fayetteville. It's a purely symbolic resolution. The Quorum Court can't enact legislation involving schools, though it could endorse school districts revisiting policies on managing protests. And this morning, we're getting a progress update on the stretch of I-49 being built in Barling.
This will be a major connector for people traveling and freight moving through the area. It's years in the works.
Yeah, 5 News reporter Claire Everbach joining us now with that update. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Tiffany. The I-49 Alma to Barling project, as you can see in this map behind me, is currently in phase 2 of 4. They're currently working on a 3-mile bridge over the Arkansas River right here, and officials say that construction is moving along as planned. The project from the Arkansas Department of Transportation will ultimately connect Highway 22 in Barling to I-40 in Alma, closing what RDOT says is a critical gap in the interstate corridor. It spans nearly 14 miles and is broken into 4 phases with a total cost of about $1 billion. Dave Parker with the Arkansas Department of Transportation says projects like this take years to complete and require significant funding to keep them moving forward.
It all boils down to funding, because when the Alma to Barling project, for example, that whole 14-mile stretch is going to cost about $1 billion. We can set a price now and say this is going to cost $1 billion, but 20 years from now, when it's being worked on and completed, with the cost of everything, it's going to be higher. We know that.
Well, RDOT says that even with those challenges, construction is continuing on the current phase, with completion expected in 2029. Claire Everbach, 5 News.
All right, thanks so much for that, Claire. Well, the Razorbacks' journey in the NCAA Tournament begins today in Portland.
The 4th seed Hawks will take on the 13th seed Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. The Hawks finished the season 26-8 and are riding some momentum after winning the SEC tournament. Meanwhile, Hawaii just earned their first NCAA tournament berth in a decade. They have the 65th best defense in the country and are the best at countering assists in the nation. Tip-off is at 3:25 today on TBS.
And later this morning, we'll check in with Nick Luttrell. He's on the ground in Portland as the Hogs get ready for the big game. He'll have a preview of today's matchup at the Moda Center. That's in about 15 minutes.
And you still have time to make your picks for your 5 News Bracket Madness. See how your NCAA tournament bracket stacks up against the 5 News team. You have until 11 a.m. to make your picks. Just scan that QR code right there to sign up.
Well, in the thick of spring break travel, airports across the country continue to face staffing shortages. TSA agents are calling out 5 weeks into a partial government shutdown, which has them on the verge of missing a second paycheck. Meanwhile, the stalemate in Washington continues. Congress at an impasse over reforms to the Department of Homeland Security. Here at home, airport leaders at XNA are sharing how the community can help those going without a paycheck.
92 agents work to help get travelers through security lines. And for the most part, those lines have been running smoothly compared to larger airports across the country. Airport leaders say that's largely due to the people who keep showing up for work despite the partial shutdown. Businesses across the area say that they want to help those who may be struggling financially and doing what they can for the essential workers.
We have these people in our community, their families, who are dealing with the aftermath of this, and you just kind of put yourself in their shoes and you're thinking, wow, how are they showing up every day?
She says the company plans to give a gift card to each of the workers and then start catering a weekly meal for them. XNA says gift cards are a great way to give back because agents cannot accept cash. Well, President Trump's top security officials face questions from lawmakers on Capitol Hill in their first hearing since the war with Iran began.
Yeah, this comes as the president warns he could strike a major energy site in Iran after Iranian retaliation hit a gas facility in Qatar. Jared Hill has more.
Overnight, President Trump threatening to blow up a key Iranian gas field if it continues attacks on a liquid natural gas hub in Qatar. Iran says the attack was in retaliation to Israel's strikes on its gas field. Trump posting the U.S. knew nothing about the strike. Multiple Gulf states are calling for calm.
We're going to use every lever we have, political, economic, diplomatic, and elsewise, to get these attacks to stop.
Iran has begun to use cluster bombs in attacking Israel after the country admitted to killing several high-profile Iranians, including the country's intelligence chief. Israel has vowed to continue eliminating top Iranian officials.
The regime in Iran appears to be intact but largely degraded.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard told senators that Iran's nuclear capabilities had been obliterated in last summer's strikes, as the Trump administration says Iran posed an imminent nuclear threat at the start of this war.
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president.
It is precisely your responsibility.
This one day after top Trump counterterrorism advisor Joe Kent resigned, claiming Iran did not pose an imminent threat. The CIA director.
I think Iran has been a constant threat to the United States for an extended period of time.
Wednesday, President Trump attended the dignified transfer of 6 U.S. service members killed in the tanker crash in Iraq last week. Sources tell CBS News he has yet to decide whether to send Americans into Iran to seize its nuclear materials. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, the Senate again defeated a war powers resolution aimed at reining in President Trump's ability to wage war on Iran without consulting Congress first.